All right. Well, since we've got a limited time block today, I'm going to go ahead and get started with a quick legislative update of what we're seeing at the Capitol related to arts education and arts policy related bills. And we'll continue to uh, have people join as they can today. I am recording this so that we can share it with others afterwards. So please hold your questions too. We've got a few people here at OFTA out sick today, so I'm flying solo on the chat and so on. So give me a few minutes if I don't see a question right away. So I appreciate your cooperation today and for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can do our quick update of what we're following up at the Capitol. So just a quick overview of who OFTA is and what we do for those of you who may not be familiar with us. Oklahomans for the Arts is your voice at the Oklahoma State Capitol. We are here to help advocate for policy as a 501c3, a nonprofit, though we do not take sides or advocate for particular candidates. We are here to advance different policy measures. We are nonpartisan. We're a statewide organization. We offer both individual and organizational memberships. And our members include artists, policymakers, educators, art organizations, and just people who appreciate art. Our mission is to protect and increase public funding for the arts and arts education and to promote policies that support the arts through advocacy, education, and engagement. So some of the areas that we focus on that you'll see coming up in the slides in some bills that are happening up at the Capitol right now is we really focus on appropriations and funding. So we are here to advocate for funding for the Oklahoma Arts Council, our state arts council, NEA funding, and NEH funding on the federal level. We also advocate for arts education, so making sure that our kids in Oklahoma have access to the fine arts, dance, and music classes. And then we're focused on business and tax policies that impact arts organizations, arts nonprofits, and artists. So things like tax credits that may impact individuals as well as arts organizations, artist business deductions, and legislation and taxation regarding events are an area of focus that you may not think of. Other areas, we were instrumental and helped with a coalition of partners, help pass ARPA funding for the arts last year. Public art, historic preservation, artificial intelligence, and things like cultural districts are all areas that touch upon and impact artists and arts educators and organizations in our state. So those are all examples of areas that we work in. Today, we're going to talk about a few of the bills that we're watching at the Oklahoma State Capitol, as well as different ways to get involved and advocate. So right now, for those of you who joined us last time, the last time we met was right before the beginning of session. Session kicked off on February the 3rd here in Oklahoma. Today, we are 1 week out from the first important deadline. So last time we went through a flow chart of how a bill becomes a law here in Oklahoma. And today, we are just still at the beginning of that process. It's a very busy week up at the Capitol. I tuned into a committee meeting the other day, and there was within 30 minutes, probably 10 bills that were approved and got out of that committee. So we are at the beginning of that process, but we are in an accelerated phase with a deadline of next week. After that, bills must be passed out of the Chamber of Origin, and we'll look at our flow chart here in just a minute. Then we've got April 24th, May 8th, and then, of course, session ends May 30th. So it's rapid fire from here on out. If we look at the flow chart we looked at last time, we are still way up here in this white diamond. So bills start in their House of Origin, so either on the House side or the Senate side. And their first step is to be heard in a smaller committee that must vote and approve the bill in order for it to be heard by the full House or Senate. So we are still at the beginning and the tip top of that flow chart and process for many of the bills. Remember, we started the session with over 3,000 bills that elected officials had introduced. In order for the bill to become a law, it has to be heard in committee first. And so we are hitting that first major deadline to get out of committee. I like to watch committee meetings, and I wanted to share with you a way for you to do that too today. You can always go to okhouse.gov or oksenate.gov, and in both cases, you click on the live proceedings meeting link, and then you'll see a list of everything that's live at that moment. And that gives you a chance from your office, if a bill is going to be heard that you'd like to follow, to click on it and watch the video. So no need to go up to the Capitol anymore. Almost all of these committee meetings are taped and are being broadcast live. If there's a bill that you are interested in watching and hearing about, that's the way to get engaged and to learn more about the process. So it's an exciting week up there. There's lots to tune in and watch. Today, I wanted to share with you 4 or 5 of the bills that we are watching and monitoring. In addition to that, I have a huge list of about 20 others that we're monitoring at all times. But the ones that are key to us right now are House Bill 1171. That bill started in the House. It's currently in committee, but hasn't been heard yet. And it creates a sales tax exemption for nonprofit organizations that meet key criteria. So this is really important for our nonprofit organizations in the state that would give them an additional tax exemption. Senate Bill 44 allows contractors and subcontractors who are working on contracts with exempt entities, such as nonprofits or museums, to present documentation of their contractual relationship and exempt entities tax exemption. So again, a really important cost savings measure for our partner organizations. Senate Bill 162, which actually it creates a arch memorial outside the Capitol, so a piece of public art. It's creating the funding for that. I don't know a lot about this. Maybe somebody on the call does, but it was I think it was part of the original plans for the Capitol and maybe had never been built, if my memory is correct on that. Senate Bill 289, again, is a sales tax related bill, and this is an exemption for museums operating on a budget under 1 million. That adds an exemption for organizations supporting veterans and some other details in there, sorry. So that one actually has passed out of the committee. The other 3 above have not yet at this point, but hopefully between now and next week, they will be heard. Another bill that we're following that has passed out of committee, the author of it is actually former OFTA Executive Director, Senator Julia Kurt. And if you read all the text, it's probably too small for you to see on your screens, but it's related to the management of the state capitol. The Oklahoma Arts Council manages the state-owned art collection that's in the Capitol, as well as the Betty Price Gallery and all the pieces of art that are in the Capitol. And this bill touches on those responsibilities. It passed out of committee. I think it was unanimously or very close to unanimously. And so now the next step for that bill is to be heard on the whole Senate floor and hopefully pass out of that and then into the other chamber. So that's an example of the bills that we're watching right now in this legislative session. In addition to that, of course, we are always focused on the Oklahoma Arts Council's budget. So one of probably the biggest part of session every year for what OFTA does is advocating for the Arts Council's budget. And so this session, the Arts Council has requested $6.7 million or $1.46 per Oklahoman. That is a little bit more, though, than what the governor proposed for the state budget for the Arts Council. So we've got a variance there going on of the governor's hoping for a flat budget for the Arts Council, and the agency has asked for slightly more than that. And why they did that is because our population is growing, and of course costs have gone up due to inflation. And then we have worries about the National Endowment for the Arts funding that could be at risk on a federal level. So this is something that we watch and monitor, although frankly, a lot of the budget action when it comes to legislation does not happen until the very end of session. So no news or updates here on this section of what we're following this session, but hold on tight because it will ramp up very quickly towards the end of session. A reminder that if you want to track any of these bills, it's really easy to do. All you have to do is go to oklegislator.gov, and at the bottom of that page, scroll down and you can create an account. And then you can do things like look up elected officials or get meeting notices and put in what bills you'd like to track. Here in this center section of the graphic, you can see where it says track bills. And you click on that, you put in the numbers, and then you'll get alerts as different things happen with that bill if it's a bill that you're interested in following. Other helpful advocacy tools. If you're going to be up at the Capitol at all, you really want this app on the left. It is a fast and easy way to find elected officials, what committees they sit on, their office numbers, and so on. It's a great tool. The middle one, of course, is the website I just mentioned. The last one is our OFTA website, which is a great way also to stay up to date on what's happening, and a great tool. Upcoming events that we have, if you are interested in advocating for the arts, and we would love to have you at the Capitol, our Arts and Culture Day is going to be April 17th from 8:30 to noon. We're going to kick off the day with a breakfast with elected officials. From there, we've got a great speaker, former Representative Colin Walke, who is a lawyer, is going to come talk to us about AI and the arts, what artists need to know about the law in AI, what we may be seeing in future laws happening and what we're seeing across the country related to AI and artists. We'll have a legislative update from our lobbyist, Jared Shouse, as well as a budget update, hopefully from Amber Sharples, the director of the Oklahoma Arts Council. From there, we'll be in the rotunda if any of our organizational partners would like to have tables in the rotunda that day, they'll be out. And then we'll also have live performances. At the same time, we'll be visiting with elected officials. And don't worry if that's something you haven't done before or aren't quite sure how to do. We'll go over that in the morning and give you some materials and talking points. It's really not as intimidating as it may seem to start. Other things we have going on and ways to get engaged and advocate for the arts in Oklahoma, please use the QR code on the screen to sign up for OFTA email alerts. Always reach out to your local elected officials and tell your own story about why the arts are important to you. Look for, as we get further into session, advocacy action alerts from OFTA and act on those. Attend Arts and Culture Day. Please, please, please vote and join OFTA as a member. We can always use your support. And so I encourage you to consider joining OFTA and being an Oklahoman for the arts. Other things we have coming up and ways to get engaged. These legislative update calls, our next one will be March 28th, which should be have a lot to share since we'll be through another deadline. And then April 25th, May 12th, and June 11th. And we've kind of shifted the days of the weeks and the times to accommodate different people's schedule, knowing that some people have a standing meeting that may conflict. So hopefully you can attend any or all of those going forward. Wanted to make sure that we thank our supporters, the Oklahoma Arts Council, the Mid-America Arts Alliance, the Chickasaw Nation, and the Kirkpatrick Family Fund. Thanks to them, we are able to do the things that we do here in Oklahoma. So with that, I want to open it up for questions. We didn't have when we met last month. It was action-packed as I went through how a bill becomes a law and all the things that happen with that. This week, we've got a lot more time to field questions about what's happening up at the Capitol if anybody has them. So with that, I will stop sharing and open it up for questions. Somebody's got to have one. All right.
Uh, I have a quick question.
Yeah, David.
Hi, and I'm sorry if this was already spoken on. I've been in and out of this. Thank you so much for putting this together. With these bills that are about the tax-free for nonprofits, do we have actionable items as a group or an entity that we can start pushing for?
Great question, David. Not yet. And so, my word on the street behind the scenes is that we expect those to come out of committee without the need for kind of additional advocacy options or asking you to call your elected officials. My guess is that once they get out of committee, we'll be look for an alert from us as well as probably the Center for Nonprofits asking you to please reach out to your elected officials and ask them to vote yes on those measures.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think I remember these in other sessions and they've been tabled in committee before. So I didn't know if there was
yeah.
something that we would want to do prior to it
No, I think we're in
potentially
good
being to the
shape, but
floor.
I will get back to you on that. If and as you know, if you follow the process, things change on a dime up there. So we will just look for an alert from us. That's an example of something where our next steps would be to send out an action alert asking you to contact your elected officials, and will provide to you ways to look up that contact information and either send them an email or reach out by phone.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Other questions? Oh, come on, guys! You're way too quiet today. You're making it easy on me.
I'm going to ask because I'm curious, and I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure if anyone else has heard anything. But Elizabeth Mon, I'm at the State Department of Education. I'm also president for the State Education Agency Directors of Arts Education, which is a national organization, and we rely on funding from the NEA every year. So we're furiously working to finish our NEA grant application for 2026. But we've also heard that some groups across the country have lost their funding awards for 2025. And I didn't know if that had happened in our state or if anyone else has concerns about that, but I'm
Yeah,
curious.
I will answer based on what I know, and then we'll see if anybody else on the call has additional information. So, based on the national advocacy calls that I am on, I've heard in other states where maybe an award was granted in December, but now has been rescinded. Um, and so we are hearing that directly from NEA recipients in other states. I have not heard of that in Oklahoma. And so hopefully that is the case. I don't know if there's anybody else. Jennifer, uh, Brian.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything
Yeah,
specifically yet.
yeah. So hopefully nobody here has been impacted by that, but there are organizations nationwide that are facing that situation. We don't have, I think it was primarily organizations that were direct grantees by NEA, and we don't have, I don't think, I believe not as many of those here as maybe some other states. Any other questions? How many of you will be attending Arts Day at the Capitol on April 17th?
I will. That's Jennifer.
Great. How about Brent Hart? I would love for you guys to be there.
Yes, we will be there.
Awesome. And if you have anybody to perform, we will take that as well.
Yes, we can touch base offline, but we're happy to do that.
Okay, great. Thank you. Well, that's all I had for today. I appreciate everybody attending, and I hope to see you all in person soon. Thank you so much for joining us, and look for updates. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Danielle.
Bye bye.